Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here. And today I took a short drive downtown Chicago to check out the upcoming G series of phones that Motorola is launching. And these are definitely budget devices. So there are two, the Moto G Power and the Moto G Stylus. Yes, there is another phone with a stylus now. The Note series from Samsung seemed to be the only phone that actually included a stylus that you could attach to the phone, but now Motorola has one. Now with that in mind, you are not going to be paying anywhere near what the Note series costs. The Moto G Power, which with the name Moto G Power has a larger battery and better battery life, is going to run you $250, and the Moto G Stylus is going to start at $300. Anyways, I'd like to compare these two devices. There are a lot of similarities, however, there are some differences, so we'll talk about those as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Taking a look at the two devices side by side, you'll notice that they look similar in terms of design. The Power weighs slightly more because that battery is a little bit bigger, but let's go ahead and talk about the similarities between the two phones. Both phones have the Snapdragon 665 processor with 4 gigs of RAM. When it comes to internal storage, they're a little bit different. 64 gigs on the Power and 128 gigs base with the Stylus, which is kind of cool. A $300 phone having that 128 gig storage base, and you can expand both of them with micro SD cards. Both have the same screen, so it has a 6.4-inch 1080p display, and especially with the minimal bezels, it looks really good. And of course, you have to keep that price point in mind with both of these phones. You even have dual stereo speakers with both of these devices, one speaker being at the top and one is bottom firing. So that is pretty promising, and they are saying that it sounds really good. Now, onto the differences between the two phones. First of all, Moto G Power, it's going to have better battery life. You have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery in the Power versus 4,000, so an extra 1,000 milliamp hours, which will get you an extended amount of time. Where is the biggest discrepancy between the two phones? Why is there a $50 price gap? First of all, that internal storage, the cameras on the back are different, and of course, you get a stylus with the G Stylus. On the back, you'll notice the camera arrangement is just slightly different. At the bottom of the lenses on the Power, you'll see that LED flash, whereas on the Stylus, you have that extra lens, and that's a TOF lens. It's actually for the laser autofocus that has it. And overall, the Stylus does have a better camera than the Power. So on the back of the Stylus, 3 lenses, a 48 megapixel sensor. You have a 2 megapixel macro lens, which will get you some close-up shots. And then you have a 16 megapixel, what they are calling action cam, which is actually an ultra-wide angle lens. In comparison on the Power, it has a 16 megapixel lens instead of that 48 megapixel. It also has a 2 megapixel macro lens and an 8 megapixel ultra-wide angle lens instead of that 16 megapixel ultra-wide angle lens. So of course, on paper, you can expect the Stylus to have a better camera. I'll need a little bit more hands-on time with both the phones to compare their shots. But with the camera on the Stylus, you can actually take vertical video. Yes, hold your phone up and down and actually take a horizontal shot. Now with the ultra-wide angle lens, you can go ahead and shoot vertical video, hold it around. It's more comfortable to hold that way. And then what it does is it processes it and uses software to actually turn it horizontal, which seems like it's very promising, seems like a really cool feature. But again, it is using the ultra-wide angle lens. Worth mentioning, both of these phones also will launch with Android 10. Now, on to what makes the Stylus so special. Taking the Stylus out, you just kind of have to catch the corner of it and pull. It is not spring-loaded whatsoever. And then when you put it back, you have to put it back a certain way. There's 2 ways you can put it back in. If you put it in the wrong way, it'll just kind of stop and not let you keep going. So you have to take it out and put it back in. I kind of wish you could put it in the same way, but again, this is the design that they went with. There's no battery, there's no Bluetooth built into the Stylus. It's simply just a stylus that can go inside of your phone. It hides very well and seamlessly. Of course, there's also functionality built into that stylus. If your phone is locked, just go ahead and pull out that stylus and you can write yourself a quick note. I find this very useful in the Note series. You just go ahead and use a pen, you can use a marker, you can change the color. Just write yourself a bunch of different notes, maybe write down a phone number real quick. You can also be way more precise with your note-taking abilities. You can highlight things, you can circle things. If you take a screenshot, you can draw arrows towards it. And it's just easier to use a stylus to do these things because it is more precise than, say, using your finger. With the phone unlocked and you take the stylus out, there are multiple shortcuts that you can customize in a bunch of different ways. Also, if you lock the phone, you can set different time frames to alert you when your stylus has not been connected back to your phone to kind of ensure that you don't lose it. In the hand, it had a little bit of weight to it, so it didn't feel too cheap at all. Again, I wish you could put it back in the phone both ways, but other than that, I'm actually a fan of it. It's nice to have another stylus phone on the market. So that's everything I want to cover with the new G series. More coming soon. Be sure to click that subscribe button. I do really like doing budget devices along with flagships so I can get a full view of the entire market in cell phones, see how budget devices are catching up to the flagship devices as well. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to follow me on various social media. All links will be down below. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.